In this video, I will attempt a Shiny Only Hardcore Nuzlocke in Pokemon Platinum. That means that I play the game with regular Nuzlocke rules, but make them more strict. We are only allowed to catch a single Pokemon before each gym for a total of 9 with our starter. We have to give each team member a nickname. If a Pokemon faints at any point, it won't be used for the rest of the run, and to make this a lot more difficult, let's add some additional rules. I won't be using an HM Pokemon like B-Barrel, meaning that moves like Rock Smash, Surf and Rock Climb will be taught to team members. On top of that, we can't use items in battle, we stick to a level cap for each gym, and while all of this is already hard enough, we also add the rule to only use shiny Pokemon. That means the one Pokemon that we can catch before each gym has to be a shiny. The shiny odds in Gen 4 are 1 in 8,192, or roughly 1 shiny in 8 hours, given that I do play this on an emulator that does have a speed up function. Now with all of those rules out of the way, what starter do we go for? While the Penguin and Chimchar are solid choices, we have to think efficiently. While soft resetting the game and just smashing the A button, the best option for us should be Turtwig, as we don't have to move left in the selection menu. I sat here for far too long, restarting the game over and over. It was not that bad considering that I was watching a couple movies on the side, but it for sure took a while. The green becomes teal and our starter is done. I like to go for a nickname theme throughout playthroughs and thought I would go with BTS members here. Don't ask me why. With Jimin on our side, we head over to Sandgem Town, learn how to catch Pokemon, receive both the Pokédex and the Pokage, the usual stuff that you do in here. Our rivals team consists of a level 7 Starly and a level 9 Chimchar, and there's a good chance that Turtwig won't be able to deal with both unless we level to 13 or 14. So here's the plan. Enter this cave and search for the next shiny. It's a 50-50 between Zubat and Psyduck, so all I have to do is win a coin flip. Nothing easier than that. By visualizing and manifesting the exact Pokemon I want to have, the universe delivers. Honestly, this deck looks so sick, and it didn't even take as long as the starter. And now we can use double Water Gun on Starly and Chimchar, making this battle a quick one. Let's fast forward a little. In Orbok City, the gym leader specializes in bad Pokemon, and so we use both Water Gun and Razor Leaf to easily get a W. 1 out of 8 gyms done. With his newfound confidence, those grunts are no problem either. Just attack and move on. A few more grunts suffer the same fate while we collect the key that unlocks the Windworks. Jimin evolves, stays teal as before, and we meet Commander Mars. I'm not sure why all those Team Galactic guys like Zubat that much, but yeah, that is no problem. When Jungkook goes down to 11 HP, I support for Jimin, who then uses Razor Leaf to finish Perugly. And if you do remember Gen 4 and what happens next, you know that we move through Eterna Forest with this beautiful music in the background. Then we arrive in Eterna City, see that statue, and challenge the next gym leader. Yeah, that's exactly what I planned to do and ended up doing, but first we gotta do something else, right? We gotta catch the next shiny, and I guess you can hear in the tone of my voice that something bad is about to happen. I thought it would be haha funny to defeat the second gym leader with whatever next shiny I find, and I ran around in Mount Coronet, ending up with the golden Schnoz Pass that I named J-Hope. It's a stone and it's golden. That's great and all, but there was something that I forgot about. I have no super effective move against the next gym leader. It also turns out that Roserade is a little tiny bit too strong at this point in the game, and I guess this is the story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute to consider the two options we got right now. We can take the blue pill, the story ends, the video's over, and I accept defeat. Or we take the red pill, restart, and go for attempt number 2. More planning, more thinking, big brain time. I don't want to make this too dramatic. As you can see for yourself, the video goes on for a fair bit, so that means you're back here again to soft reset for a starter. Only 5 days of lifetime wasted, but as some musician once said, I think the show must go on. Might have been an actor or somebody else. This time I choose to press 1 additional button per reset just to get Chimchar, which is going to carry us in the second gym. I also decided to name my character John for good luck purposes, because John never throws a run. A couple hours of pure fun and entertainment later, I watched those 2 movies, and the monkey is slightly more pink than usual. For this run, the nickname theme will be Twice members, also K-pop band. There happen to be 9 of them, and this happens to be the second attempt, so I thought this would fit. But now to the fight. It was pretty easy because our rival didn't attack for the longest time, until he did, and then some more. Yeah. I looked this up multiple times to be precise. The Nuzlocke technically doesn't begin until we receive the Pokédex and can catch our first Pokemon. Just pretend we won this battle and this doesn't count for the... I will not reset again. We go through the usual routine of receiving the Pokédex, talking to our mom, delivering the parcel, obtaining the Pokage, and thinking about which area gives us the best chance of a useful Pokemon. We could go for the Zubat and Psyduck 50-50 before, but how about now? I did consider just fishing for Magikarp as well to get a red Gyarados down the line, but it took so long to just find a single one that I gave up on the idea a couple minutes in. Back to this patch of grass, a couple of movies and some running around. After far too long, we ended up with a golden Shinx. We now cover both water and flying types, which is incredibly helpful against our rival. I would lie if I had said that this would be hard. This was the easiest fight yet. But next in Orbox City, a real challenge awaits us. How in the world can we deal with rock types with just a fire and electric type? There's no way, right? Yeah, okay, so the monkey evolves. Look, he's shiny, wow, monkey. And he learns Mach Punch, and then he uses that a couple times, and that's how you get the gym badge. I feel like the first gym you can't really lose there. This was the easy part. No matter which starter you pick, this should never be a problem, let's just be honest here. On our way to the Flower Village, we deal with the grunts that list far too many things, deal with the other grunts on the Honeyfield, and make it into the Windworks building for the second time. Commander Mars and his cat are not the easiest to defeat, but at level 20 and with more confidence than ever before, we successfully choose the right attack to win this fight. When it comes to insane team building and covering your weaknesses, we should probably just run around in this field as there are a couple of water types that are pretty pork champion. So I did exactly that, from left to right and up and down, for I think 7 hours? Roughly 7 hours. I did almost consider to rewatch the entirety of Game of Thrones, as I might spend that much time in the playthrough anyways, but I digress. The only bad encounters in this patch of grass are Shinx, because we already have one, and Pachirisu, as it's first of all way too cute for this world, and because we already have an electric type. Now what do you think we get? Aren't we all excited? Well, here it comes. Our SHINIES? The one we didn't want. When I saw the name and the sparkles, I was a tiny bit disappointed. You know, just a tiny little bit, but whatever. We can take this around because, you know, it's pink instead of blue, and it can't evolve, and it only knows electric and normal moves. This thing is awesome. Side note at this part, I actually played through the entirety of Pokemon Platinum once using only Pachirisu, and I never made that video. And then I deleted both the VODs on my Twitch channel and the recording, so it's like it never happened. But now you know, and on we go through Eterna Forest, talk with Cyrus, talk with the girl, and into the gym. Here I got reminded that I have to keep the level cap in mind. I was getting a little bit too close to it. But alright, attempt 2 at this gym. And this time we get Flame Wheel to carry us. Pretty much just using the same move over and over until the second batch is ours. Like, I would like to commentate this fight, but it's really, you see it for yourself. Our fake Pikachu deals with Zubat, and Skuntank is a little annoying, almost knocks up Monferno, close one, but eventually Commander Jupiter is defeated, which means that we can now get our bike and get under the bike pass for our next encounter. As a kid, I was so surprised that there's like a different entry to the tunnels down here, and they can get like a Gibble or a Ghibli, how I would like to call it. And so we make it back there right now because there's one premium Pokemon that we could catch, the Ghibli that I just mentioned. It would pretty much change the entire run and how we would approach all the battles, but the chance is a little bit unlikely, so let's hope for the best. There are Geodude, Onix, and Bronxer as well, which wouldn't be optimal, but they would be alright as well, just worse significantly. Way too much time went by in this cave until the next shiny appears. Do you think it's the Ghibli? Do you think it's the one I wanted? Oh, no it isn't. It's the rock. Yep, wow. I am so happy because this rock is amazing. Besides Magnitude and Earthquake later on, this is not necessarily useful, but we take it. We encounter these trainers that, coincidentally, send out the same Pokemon as we do, just not in shiny. Couple hits and a 540 trickshot later, and we arrive in Hearthome to pick up a tuxedo our mom had for us. We meet the next gym leader, and now it's big brain time. She got 3 Pokemon, 2 of which are easy to defeat by using Bite on Luxio. The Mismagius though, that's a problem. Both Psywave and Shadow Ball deal a bit more than half HP in damage against my entire team, and it probably outspeeds as well, meaning we either have to get lucky and crit or sacrifice one of the members. Luxio gets confused but manages to not hit itself and puts Miss into the yellow area, which triggers its berry. We go down to 5 HP but manage to not hit ourselves again and put it in the red zone as well. Here switch it to Monferno thinking that we're gonna hit it and kill it. But you know what? It gets confused. It does hit with Flame Wheel. I was really happy about that. It doesn't kill. Psybeam maybe deals 42 damage, which is a lot. And here I knew that the monkey is probably going to say goodbye to us right now. We send in Pachirisu and it ends the fight with Spark, which then reminded me that I probably should have checked the speed stats of Pachirisu and Mismagius. considering that they're on a similar level, and I think I might have just sacrificed my starter Pokemon, which is really good, for absolutely no reason. Yeah, so that's pretty awkward, but I feel like I'm too far into reset, and this makes this run significantly harder, so let's see what happens next. On the upside, our Luxio evolves into Luxray, and our rival is super easy to deal with. With the odd Keystone we picked up earlier and some craftsmanship, this pile of rocks becomes the home to Spiritomb, the sick-looking Pokemon from Cynthia that has no weaknesses. All we gotta do is insert the stone and soft reset for it, right? Yeah, turns out that you have to talk to 32 people in the underground before this even triggers, and I might have forgotten about that. Like I thought this was only in Diamond and Pearl. No, it's in Platinum too. You just get the Keystone for free. Well, you know what that means. We can, there's a tower. We can go in there. Or we just stay in this patch of grass again and then, run around. We could perhaps get this one in shiny, or we get this one in shiny. I ended up just running around here, and a couple days later, because this took way too long, I did encounter a Ralts, something that I can't complain about for once. Instead of green, it's teal, super sick honestly, and it evolves into blue-haired Kirlia and Gardevoir. Until gym number 4, there wasn't much else that happened. I dodged most trainers on the way, and the only duo that was somewhat challenging didn't really do much. Due to confusion on Gardevoir, the gym was a lot easier than expected. Both Meditite and Machoke died to a single hit after we boost with Calm Mind, and Lucario is somewhat of a tough opponent, but unless it crits, there's no chance if we lose this fight. I'm kidding, it didn't crit. So 4 out of 8 gyms done. Time for the next encounter. I considered Houndour at first because it's super poggers, but it's also just a 15% chance of encountering. And I will say it how it is. Getting another shiny rock in this area wouldn't be the surprise I'm looking forward to. So in conclusion, this route just isn't it. I went with the next best option, the Safari Zone. I'm also kidding you, there's no way I would do that. At this point in time I realized something. Before the second gym, I wanted to get a water type next to the Windworks, so we could do that in this area, very likely, because in this patch of grass there is Buizel, Shellos, Wingull, and Shadowt, or in other words, a bunch of water types that I would really like to have. So there I was, determined to find some shiny pixels. Long story short, I loved Swampert in Gen 3, and Shellos or Gastrodon later on is basically Swampert, just worse. Thanks to our team being diversified enough to counter whatever this blonde dude sends out, the 4th rival battle that I completely forgot about is no problem either. Roselia is a little bit annoying, but not gonna lie, it's also gun, so there's that. Inside the gym, I use electric moves because this image told me it would be super effective against water types. At Gym 5, Leader Wake. He's one of the strongest gym leaders in all of Sinnoh. He's definitely top 8 and super hard to defeat. So 2 moves to get rid of his first 2 Pokemon, and some precise moves from my side to live through Crunch on both Gardevoir and Pachirisu. By the way, at this point I should probably mention that there is this damage calculator, which turns this from a guessing game, whether we live in attack or not, and if we kill or not, into odds and percentages. So while some plays might seem risky, if you actually put in the numbers, then they're a little bit less risky, but I digress. Don't be all like mathematics. Yes, we do. Next, I follow this dude and confront him about recent events to then command 4 Psyducks to let me through. A fight against Cyrus in the ruins of Celestic Town follows, and here it's just a question of using Discharge, Spark, and Thunderfang to deal with his team. That was 1 hour of story summed up in 2 sentences. You all know what follows. A rival battle, I think this is number 5, in Canalave City, which also has a really good soundtrack. I know it has only been a minute or 2 since the last one, but hear me out, this one is different. It's over even faster. Their team goes down one after another, and there's really not much thinking involved, just use the super effective move, no strategy, just click on attack, and you're good to go. The next gym awaits us, and we yet have to get an encounter. So I looked at all the different routes and what we might run into, and here are my results. We could go to the Fuego Ironworks and hope for a fire type, which is not that bad, but kinda boring. We could also grab another water type by surfing here, or, hear me out, we risk it to either get a Ponyta or Machop in this patch of grass north to the first gym city. I'm a man of chances, of odds, of gambling, you could say. And if there's a chance of getting a fighting type, I have to seize it. And so I pray to the almighty Arceus to bless my encounter. There's a 1 in 3 chance to get the Machop. But this is now an interactive game where I break the 4th wall. What do you think we're gonna get? Do we get number 1, number 2, or option number 3? The solution might happen in this very moment, because I ended up with a shiny Machop, the golden guy that will single-handedly save this run, as he is so much better than I initially thought he would be. But to that, more later on. And you know what, when we already break the fourth wall, let's do something funny, something that I think people don't do when they make like videos where they write a script for. I wrote way too many words in here, so I thought, let me just read out the notes that I took instead of the script that I would have written. Gym 6 Surf very effective against Gym, Events for Lake Thing, and Talk with Professor but still no fly, not good. Go to Lakefronts, easy fights versus blue hair and red hair, then move up Mount Coronet to snow area, catch Snowman, then 7th gym. Isn't it great how you can experience 7 hours of gameplay and shiny hunting in less than like 30 seconds? But yeah, I ended up getting the little snowman that evolves into a Obama Snow, which honestly is not even that great, but it's like ice and grass, and you know, 4 times weakness to fire, but I don't want to complain, okay? It does learn some good moves. It has like Ice Shot and Wood Hammer later on, and we might use that only like 3 times. So while I stood around this gym to destroy some snowboards blocking the way, I prepared mentally for the upcoming fight against Candace. Do you guys know Candace? No? Candace, better go well, please. I can't afford to lose. Sneasel gets cross-chopped. Frostlass uses double team, but experiences double crunch from Luxray, which lives through a blizzard. Pillow Swine gets to see these hands, and Big Snowman ain't as fast as the kid and follows the rest of her team. Can this get any worse for her? I don't know. And I don't care because I'm focused on the mission. At the lake, Jupiter spits some facts, and we go back to Veilstone. I was never a big fan of the headquarters and those teleporters in them because I always felt lost when taking the wrong route. But now is not the time for that. Look at the path I take. Skillfully, navigating through the whole thing. Get the keycard, make it through this building as well, and end up at Cyrus's office. Let's go into this fight and knock out one Pokemon after another, starting with Cross Chop on Sneasel. We switch to Luxray against Crobat, which lowers its attack, and then we dodge the confusion to hit with Thunderfang. I sent an Obama Snow to finish the job with Ice Shot after a full restore was used on Crobat. Honchkrow is kind of a problem if you're bad at the game, but Spark paralyzes it and ends this battle. I always wondered why we defeat the boss of Team Galactic, but then have to challenge Commander Saturn, who is just worse than Cyrus. Needless to say, we win this one too, and free the Lake Trio. After this action-packed segment, another one follows. Me and Man are up against Mars and Saturn. A fight in which I honestly consider to just knock out Munchlax, as it's so useless, it's not even funny. After some planning, I found the best possible strategy for this double battle. It's called Surf. Our opponents kept targeting the Pokemon our rival sends in, leaving us unharmed for the longest time. This entire battle was just us using Surf. Lastly, I switched into Luxray just to be safe and finish off Golbat. That was the entire fight. If we look at this objectively, sometimes planning a battle and overthinking stuff is just worse than spamming a single attack. Next, the Lake Trio performs some magics, 2 portals open, and we enter the Distortion World. The only notable thing in this entire place is the super sick waterfall that definitely stood the test of time. Through strength, we move 1, 2, and 3 stones into the correct spot, which I still don't understand. What's the point of moving those stones around in a Distortion World? Anyways, final fight against Cyrus. I would lie if I were to say that this one was easy, because it absolutely was not easy. The best line of play I found after considering his entire team, their moves, and what they might do when I do something, what attacks they might choose for each Pokemon. I start by using Surf against Houndoom, which barely knocks it out. When Gyarados is sent in, we swap for Gardevoir, which then intimidated it through its ability Trace. That way Waterfall deals less than half HP in damage, so we can stand up to 3 attacks, and we can use Shockwave to one-hit that. When Honchkrow is sent in, we switch it to Luxray and intimidate it as well, allowing us to live through Night Slash even if it crits. Which it does. We outspeed with Thunderfang, and next up is Weavile. Thanks to us not getting frozen and then also hitting Cross Chop, this battle is over without losing him on. Wait, Crobat is left, I forgot. I sent in Gastrodon as it takes the least amount of damage from Air Slash, and with a couple surfs and Crobat missing an Air Slash, Cyrus goes down. And this, right here, this is the moment. We've been waiting for this, the entire video. There's this one Pokemon on the cover of Pokemon Platinum. After all of this, are we gonna catch it in its primal form? In its beautiful silvery armor while it hovers around? Absolutely not, because I will not catch legendaries. That would be way too easy. Getting a legendary in a Nuzlocke run is really good. And I don't mean like, oh, it's alright. I mean, it's really good. And in order to keep this one challenging and not just one-hit everything I ever encounter, especially Cynthia later on and her dragon, you know, Garchomp might be a problem. But with Giratina, might just outspeed use Dragon Claw, kill it. And we want to keep this entertaining, so let's snap back to reality. Because the rules state that I can catch a Pokemon before or after a gym, I decided to leave the last Pokemon we catch up for Victory Road. Because in there, again, there's a chance to get a Gabite, which should make the Elite Four a lot easier, but then it's due to chance and random RNG that we encounter that. So before we get the final shiny, we have to do this gym real quick. There are 2 ground types in our party, making this gym pretty easy honestly. Using Earthquake on Graveler or Mud Bomb on Gastrodon is enough to deal with everything this gym has to offer. But lastly, the gym leader sends an Electivire. It's big, it's powerful, and the only damaging move it knows against ground types is Quick Attack. Even when it crits, it barely deals any damage, so the 8th gym and final gym of this run is over. It's done. 8 out of 8 gyms defeated. Next up is Victory Road, and inside there's a 5% chance of encountering a Gabite, the one that I want to have. Not the best odds, but if I win this 1 in 20, then the Elite 4 should be 10 times easier, or 2 times, I didn't do the math on that. So I ran up and down, the usual stuff, you know, and eventually I ended up getting this thing and putting it straight into a box. This was pure trash. The last fight against our rival highlighted some of the bad decisions that I tend to make. While most of his team is no problem whatsoever, when it comes to being asleep against Roserade, I just don't know what to do. So I thought, let's just wake up. And well, that didn't happen. So I thought, let's wake up next turn. And it didn't happen. This one ended up being a close one. The rest of the fight, however, went smooth, calculated attacks. Here we are, before the Elite 4. But there are some things that I yet have to do. I need to pick up a couple TMs like Thunderbolt and Earthquake, and also have to go into the underground to search for treasure. What treasure? Well, the red shards. If you remember in Gen 4 and the underground minigame, you have those 4 different colors of shards, because on Route 212 there is this house, which belongs to the move tutor who can teach Machamp both Ice Punch as well as Fire Punch in exchange for a dozen red shards. In order to get there, I had to get my hands dirty, but in the end, my team was ready to take on the Elite 4. Aaron, Bertha, Flint and Lucian, starting with a bug type guy. Against Yanmega, we set in a Bomber Snow and make it start hailing. This will be useful later in this fight. After an Ice Shard, they use Double Team, which does not do much because a second Ice Shard hits it and knocks it out. 1 down, couple more to go. Switching out to Fire Punch the Scissor to then go into Gastrodon to take the Aerial Ace from Drapion was a pro gamer move from my side. With the help of Google.com, I learned that Drapion is weak to ground moves, so I Earthquake a couple times. Get hit with a crit, but survive and Heracross comes in. I switched to Intimidate and then just Spark, as we do not take much damage here. Lastly, I punched the Queen with a 2-hit combo and the first of the Elite 4 is defeated. Next up is Bertha. This fight is more difficult than I had in memory. Here we start with Magical Leaves due to the 4x weakness, and another Magical Leaves hits Hippowdon, but it yawns and forces me to switch out. Surf finishes the job, and next up is Gliscort. We switch into the man that knows Ice Punch and use that beautiful move for a 1-hit KO. I mean, that was close, at least with the 10% chance on it freezing. After a full restore, I use another Ice Punch, and this time, it also doesn't one-hit. I then switch out to Pachirisu to use Quick Attack, pretty much the only time Pachirisu will be useful in the Elite 4. For the last 2 Pokemon, I use Wood Hammer on the Golem and move on to repeat the same thing against the big version of Rhydon. Rhydon what? Rhydon this win streak, because next is Flint. Here I use the most basic strategy imaginable. I either use Earthquake or Surf, because those moves tend to be super effective. The 4th member of the Elite 4, Lucian, requires me to think outside the box. Instead of attacking, I could also buff my special attack with Calm Mind, just boost a couple times, and then attack after. I know that this might sound insane, but I actually did that. And it was pretty easy because they set up like Light Screen and some other screen. Turns out Mr. Mime is not like the best Pokemon and it doesn't deal much damage, so yeah, we used the attacks and yeah, Cynthia is next. Final battle. And it's going to decide if we manage to defeat Platinum or die trying. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean. Here we go. Final fight. Spiritomb has no weakness, which is why I let Gastrodon take a few hits and knock it out to start the fight. Pachirisu is pretty useless against the entire team of hers. Also, anything else I would have sent in had the chance of just instantly dying to it, because Roserade is really good. Now after Pachirisu goes down, we send him a Choke and use an Ice Punch, which should deal enough damage, barely, but should deal enough damage to one-hit the remaining HP. There's always a little chance of not dealing enough damage, but today is a good day, and so we move on to Togekiss. Switching into Gardevoir at any other point in this fight would result in it getting one hit. It's a little slow and everything else outspeeds her. Lucario enters the fight and we switch to Gastrodon to use Earthquake, and yet again it barely survives. One full restore and another Earthquake later and we move on to the most broken Pokemon in all of Sinnoh. The strategy I had in mind against it was to hit Earthquake on Gastrodon, but that would not work as it is a little bit too slow. I could try to hit Ice Shot with a Bomber Snow and go for the 10% chance of it freezing, but it also knows Flamethrower for some reason to cover its weakness, and we are 4 times weak to it, so we probably would die. if we try that. So there was only one thing I could do, and that was actually smart and simple at the same time. It's just switching between Luxray and the Abomasnow a couple times to get Intimidate off 3 or 4 times in total, and then use Ice Shard to defeat it. Because the AI switched between using Flamethrower to defeat Abomasnow, which then hit Luxray, and Earthquake to defeat Luxray, which then hit Abomasnow, we didn't take much damage and made it to the final Pokemon in Cynthia's team, Milotic. And here's where Abomasnow actually matters, because Woodhammer does one-hit that. Almost, but the hail does finish it, and with that, the challenge is over. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the button, maybe subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.